tonight. The city has released details of its Civic Core review. We have a full report on the results. Plus, NDP transport critic Taylor Bachrach has tabled a bill which would give passenger trains priority when they share the tracks with freight trains. And Rogers has built 3 new wireless towers in service along the Highway of Tears, part of the company's commitment to keep the highway safe. Good evening, I'm Eddie Huband and welcome to CKPG News. We begin tonight in local politics as council has taken the next steps in determining what the downtown core should look like. There are a number of options for the area in question, but it will be some time before anyone will get any inkling of what could be.
Ever since the Four Seasons Leisure Pool and Fire Hall Number 1 were demolished, the idea of a Civic Core review became a focus at City Hall. Administration took the time to survey the public about what they would like to see, and Council has now received the results of those efforts, identifying the top 3.
The significant infrastructure identified through the public consultation first was a mixed use of commercial and housing, secondly being a performing arts centre, and third a new arena.
The survey garnered more than 50,000 responses, but Mayor Simon Yu wasn't sold on the results, saying perhaps with such a massive undertaking, there should be a more professional look off the top.
We can go into a little bit more details, so those surveys will have a little bit more value in terms of helping the planning, to helping the designers to see what really the people of Prince George want.
The area in question surrounds City Hall and includes things like the Copar Memorial Arena, the now empty lots where the pool and the fire hall used to be located, the Civic Centre, and even the art gallery. But Mayor Yu suspects the public only considered the vacant lots rather than the existing structures in the survey.
That how do we take a look at the existing structure, which eventually they have to be replaced as well. You know, the library, the plaza, the swimming pool, and and the city hall even itself.
Council was presented with 3 options for next steps. Option 1, hire a consultant to present some plans. Option 2, Council set out its priorities and a consultant will take it from there. Or Option 3, defer it. Council went with door number 1.
Yes, so Council has directed administration to now move ahead with procuring consultant services to prepare concept designs or plans for this area to show those 3 significant uses I've noted, as well as perhaps some other uses noted through the consultation.
And while Council opted to go with option number 1, which is to hire a consultant to come forward with various different plans, nothing will happen overnight. It will take some time to see results. Yeah,
within the first quarter of 2024, I can see the administration working through the procurement process, establishing the RFP, and hopefully receiving responses to review and then select the successful consultant to carry out that work for us.
The report also sets out some shorter-term objectives for the core with such things as more green space, park benches, public art, and so on. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Turning to federal politics now, NDP transport critic Taylor Bachrach has tabled a private member's bill which would give passenger trains priority when they share the tracks with freight trains. Adam Burrows has more now on the Northern MP's goal to make train travel more accessible for Canadians.
Train transportation is not a popular mode of transport for many in Canada when compared to driving or flying, and we lag behind much of the world when it comes to passenger rail. But one Northern BC MP is hoping to change that.
One of the key reasons for that is that in Canada, passenger trains share the tracks with freight trains. And the big freight companies have priority on the tracks. And as a result, the passenger trains have to pull over frequently, which means that they have a hard time keeping a schedule.
Bachrach put forward Bill C-371, which would give passenger trains more freedom on the rails.
Which would flip the tables and give passenger trains priority on the tracks in Canada. The hope is that if passenger trains could keep a better schedule, more people would choose them as everyday transportation.
To bring attention to this issue, Bachrach is taking the train cross-country from Toronto to Smithers.
I left Toronto, I guess the day before yesterday, on the 17th, and we're just going through Saskatoon, talking to passengers and stopping in communities and talking to folks about the future of passenger rail in this country.
For people in Northern BC, the options for transportation present their own unique challenges.
The passenger train system has a lot of challenges. And so people who don't own their own vehicles have very few options if they need to get to another community for appointments, to visit family, all those sorts of things. And when I was talking to people about bus service, a lot of people wanted to talk about the train.
Bachrach hopes that Bill C-371 will inspire Ottawa to take action.
We want to see the government investing more in Via Rail. We want to see them supporting a vision of better passenger rail transportation down the road, not seeing it wither and dry up over time, which is really the fear.
Adam Burles, CKPG News.
Following a pedestrian fatality on the Hart Highway last week, the Minister of Transportation, Rob Fleming, sent CKPG a written statement. The accident happened last Wednesday night on the intersection of Highway 97 and Kenworth Road, and the minister wrote that his thoughts are with all those involved in the collision. He added that the ministry regularly reviews all its highways for safety and effectiveness, and earlier this year started a transportation planning study of Highway 97 from 5th Avenue to Christopher Road. This study is focusing on safety for everyone on the road, including pedestrians, drivers, transit, and cyclists. Minister Fleming added that the study will help inform what safety improvements the ministry will need to make. 3 new Rogers cell towers have turned on along the Highway of Tears at Seven Sisters Mountain and Seeley Lake Park, providing 911 access for all travelers across 50 kilometers of what was previously a dead zone. Tommy Osborne spoke with several advocates for missing and murdered Indigenous people to gather local reaction.
A move that's been in the works since 2006. The Highway of Tears is finally seeing some safety measures being put into place from Rogers, who announced 3 cell towers are now activated to provide 50 kilometers of additional coverage. Carious-Akani Family Services say this was one of 33 recommendations it had in a symposium 17 years ago.
Rogers is doing its part to fulfill number 8 of those recommendations, which is, back in the day, we actually called for phone booths to be installed along the highway.
Cameron and Charity West, 2 advocates for missing and murdered Indigenous people who walked across the country and the Highway of Tears to raise awareness, agrees this is great to see, but hope it's the first of several moves.
We did walk across a lot of the dead zones, and the impact of 50 kilometers is quite good, but it's not enough.
It's great. It's a great initiative. It's a great move, and that's going to help a lot of people, but it doesn't help everybody.
We certainly hope that this is a springboard for more collaboration. One of the projects we've been working on is getting information kiosks, so people have information about the dangers and some of the safety things that we have implemented on the highway. We've also invested in billboards to change the messaging that it's all of our responsibility to keep Highway 16 safe.
While Dom says it's all of our responsibility, what can the regular person do? There are several things, like potentially looking out for people who might be fleeing danger along the highway, or even things like challenging stereotypes around missing and murdered Indigenous people. Cameron and Charity added some form of an official community watch could be a huge way to keep the Highway of Tears safe.
I think it would be really great if they had people along the way that were designated safe spaces, just to have a point of contact, for people fleeing domestic violence. If they had people along the way that were designated to contact, and they could get them in touch with local resources, would be great.
The monument above me represents all of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and people we have lost along the Highway of Tears. And while the cell towers should play a huge role in lowering those numbers and helping to keep everyone in our community safe, there is still more work to be done, but this is a fantastic first step. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
BC Transit, with the help of the City of Prince George, is making it easier to ride the bus on New Year's Eve. Transit across the province will see some changes as we ring in the new year, and that includes here in Prince George. A number of the routes will have extended service, and transit will be free after 7 p.m. on December 31st, and services will run till 3 a.m.
So the Route 1, the Route 10, 15, 16, 19, 46, 55, 88, 89, and 91. So that's a mouthful. So I suggest that anybody who is looking to take the bus on New Year's Eve make sure you go to bctransit.com and look at the latest schedules, or use the Transit app as well. That's going to have your most up-to-date information for New Year's Eve service. So there are highest ridership routes, and there are ones that are specific to the university and the college as well. So we find those folks are tending to go downtown and out to different events, and so we wanted to make sure that those routes were available for extra service, but also we wanted to make sure that coverage is good as well. So we wanted to make sure that there's lots of different areas that are covered in PG, so everyone can go out and enjoy the holidays.
The shingles vaccine is available for anyone 50 years and older, and it's highly recommended as the disease has some serious side effects. Sam Benison has more on this week's To Your Health.
And now To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
This is a PSA. I have shingles. It is the worst thing I've ever gone through, and I've had 3 children.
Searing pain, rashes, and fluid-filled blisters that burst and crust over. All these are symptoms of the varicella virus, also known as shingles. And for Tamara Stanners, her vision was at risk.
That night, when I was in excruciating pain with the sore, my husband took me to the hospital in the middle of the night, and they immediately diagnosed me with shingles. And they were very worried because of my eye, because I had them all around my eye.
Thankfully, there is a highly effective vaccine that prevents shingles, but the $160 per dose price tag is steep.
Depends on if the person has private insurance. Also, the First Nations Health Authority has started covering it for certain demographics. I'm not sure why it isn't publicly funded, but yeah. I think it has to do with, if you get shingles, you're not necessarily hospitalized, so the government might not recognize it as a, huge cost-saving measure.
If you are able to afford the vaccine, it is recommended for anyone 50 years and older, as well as if you've had chickenpox.
If you had chickenpox as a child, the virus hides out in your spine until a stressor brings it out.
However, if you got the vaccine before 2006, it's also recommended to redose.
The old one is about 60-ish% effective at preventing shingles, whereas the new one is in the low 90% of efficacy, so much better. The CDC does still recommend that people get the new vaccine if they have had the old vaccine.
Sam Benison, CKPG News.
To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
A note for BC shoppers, they should expect to see no single-use plastic bags, straws, or utensils in stores and restaurants starting tomorrow as new federal single-use plastics rules take effect. Cities like Vancouver and Victoria already have their own rules in place. The BC government says food service providers will no longer be able to offer single-use plastic utensils, lids, and other items like plastic sushi grass. It says such items can only be given out if a customer asks for them. The lowest gas price in Prince George is currently sitting at $1.39.9 a liter at Costco, and that also happens to be the lowest price in the province right now. Alberta currently has the lowest gas prices in the country at $1.19 per liter, while BC has an average price of $1.60.7 per liter.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The UNBC Timberwolves are welcoming their newest athlete, midfielder, Abby Bradley will be suiting up for the T-Wolves women's soccer team next season. The 17-year-old from Fraser Valley has been playing since she was at the mere age of 5, and she says her biggest strength is defense and knowing when to push the offense versus staying back to defend. While she's new to the team, it's not her first time on campus, as she trained with T-Wolves coach Neil Sedgwick and the varsity roster back in November. Bradley says UNBC is great for her, not only for the soccer program, but also the campus and the educational programs, so she can't wait to get started.
It's something I've been working for since I was really little, and it's kind of like the ultimate dream. I loved the campus. It's absolutely gorgeous. The programs they have here are great. The science program's amazing. Neil, he was really inviting, super friendly, and the girls all seem lovely. It was a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot faster pace than I'm used to, and the girls are super strong, but it's fun to kind of have that challenge. And I mean, there's always room for improvement, especially I think in my speed, just really building on that to get up to the pace that the other girls are at.
18 WHL players have been selected to compete in the 2024 Kubota CHL NHL Top Prospects game, including Cougars' own Taylor Bachrach. The Lethbridge, Alberta product will compete against 39 other players from leagues across Canada in front of NHL scouts in an effort to improve their draft stocks ahead of the 2024 NHL draft, which is scheduled for June. The Prospects game will happen January 24th of next year at Avenir Centre in Moncton, New Brunswick. Now, the official teams will be announced in January, and this comes after Bachrach was named WHL Rookie of the Week for the 4th time this season. The TSX is up 217 points to close at 20,839. The Dow Jones is up 252 points to close at 37,558. And CN Rail went up $1.97 to close at $163.89.
Good evening again, everyone. We do have a chance of showers sticking around as we move into the evening hours, and that will carry into the morning, and then another wave of moisture coming our way tomorrow when we have some more rain moving back in. So the satellite image, not a lot to show really. It's just more so the clouds as a result of all the different systems that are happening. We will get a break, but likely not until later into the week, maybe early weekend. Saturday at this point looks like we could be bringing back some sunshine. That's a few days out though, of course. Futurecast, lots of happening here. So again, we have a slow moving frontal system moving through the northern half of the province. So that's why we're seeing a instability in and around our region. We've got a little bit more snow to the west, and then of course some showers moving into many other areas, including right here. So into our morning tomorrow, we still have a chance of showers. Then we've got another band of moisture moving in late morning and early afternoon. So that's when we'll have some more rain developing. So pretty wet one for the next couple of days, actually right through the rest of the work week. We have chances of precipitation, but the trade-off will be the very mild temperatures that we are going to be enjoying. We're putting a high tomorrow of about 4 degrees. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another 2 degrees warmer than that tomorrow. Certainly a pattern we don't normally see at this time of the year. It'll be warm down through the southern interior, or mild, I guess. 6 in Kelowna as well, and anticipating mainly clouds, maybe a few sunny breaks. The south coast looks pretty dry tomorrow, which is great. And then moving forward, yes, the chances of precipitation on and off, especially later into the week. 4 in Quesnel, 3 Vanderhoof for the daytime highs tomorrow. A very mild day in McBride at 6 degrees, up through Fort St. James, Mackenzie as well. A little unsettled, but not too bad. Across the country, we've got some bright spots to talk about. Edmonton now seeing a better day tomorrow, a bit dreary there today, but -1 Regina, and then further east it is pretty mixed in terms of what we're seeing for weather. So 2 degrees in Montreal. We've got a chance of flurries down through Toronto, but still some sunny breaks in there as well, and then some showers for us late week. I should mention again, if you're just tuning in, there is still snowfall warning along Highway 97 in Pine Pass, so make sure you are taking note of that and checking the roads before heading out, as we are seeing lots of snow, heavy snow accumulating there. Some showers late week. We'll get into the extended for you. -6 tonight, Burns Lake, cloudy skies tomorrow, and then down to about +1 Thursday, Friday, and then just chances of precipitation more so on Thursday than you'll see on Friday. We've got snow tonight in Mackenzie, likely in the early half of tonight, should taper off though later on, and then left with just a chance of showers for the most part, because highs are going to be about 4 degrees by the afternoon, and that will be the case for Thursday, Friday, and then we start to see temperatures regulate, or at least go a little bit cooler where they should be for this time of the year into the weekend. It'll be bright on Saturday for McBride, but very dreary until then. Highs of 6 tomorrow though, very mild day. +1 in Quesnel, 4 with rain tomorrow, heavier rain through the day, becoming steady as the afternoon goes on, and then just a chance of showers on Thursday. For us here, we are anticipating again some showers in the forecast tonight and into tomorrow, and then into the later part of the morning we will start to see showers switching over to rain. So pretty wet forecast going forward, but look at that. On Saturday it cools down just a touch, but we get that sunshine back.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
It has been a tough season thus far for the Toronto Raptors, sitting with a record of 11-15 and in 11th place in the Eastern Conference. The franchise is simply at a crossroad on where the next steps are for the future. For years now, President of Basketball Operations Masai Ujiri has held firm that he believes in the core group of Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam, opting against trading the latter two players last season when the team was struggling. And they could have recouped young talent and initiated a rebuild. This year, they find themselves in the same position, with many around the team believing the right thing to do would be to finally wave the white flag, trade Siakam and Anunoby, and try to acquire young talent. Now, Scotty Barnes is enjoying a breakout season, one in which he could make his first All-Star team. But the team around the young star makes little sense, particularly the fit with the other two star players. It's now or never if Toronto wants to make some trades as well, as Siakam becomes a free agent at the end of this season, so they could lose him for nothing if he opts to sign with another team. Right now, it's pretty evident what needs to be done. This team is just 5 years removed from winning a championship. It's okay to bottom out, reset, and get some draft capital and rebuild around Barnes. Whether or not Ujiri will do what's right remains to be seen, but with every loss continuing to pile up, the pressure around him is starting to mount. And it's time to go for the CKP3 now, where we have game-winning goals and an athlete who may have forgotten what sport he was playing. Have a look.
The Seattle Seahawks were locked in on this game-winning play.
Lock, end zone, it is caught! Touchdown, Seattle!
The upset of the week came at the perfect time for the Seahawks, and backup QB Drew Lock was the one who delivered the dime to keep the Seahawks alive in the wild-card race by knocking off the Eagles, who many consider a Super Bowl contender. Lock says he's going to remember that pass for the rest of his life. Next up, another game-winning score.
Reinhardt tips it over to Kachuk. It's intercepted, and here's a chance. Backlund short-handed. Michael Backlund, right in, scores! Be a great entrance by the Panthers.
Short-handed, backhand, top shelf, boom, score. Doesn't get much more impressive than that for the Flames' newest captain, Michael Backlund, as he helped Calgary take a lead they didn't give up. An empty netter was scored later on, but Backlund slicing through the defense for the short-handed breakaway gave the Flames control. Finally, hockey or soccer?
Barron, Matheson holds his own. Evans to Matheson, shooting. Helmut, the stop, and they score!
Guess those soccer lessons paid off for Josh Anderson. If you look closely, you'll see the puck banks off of his leg. Since it was a bank shot and not an intentional kick, the goal stood. And maybe Anderson should consider joining CF Montreal to build on his promising soccer career in tonight's CKP3.
Hello from the CKPG Today side. I got the peak of entertainment on this side for you here today, and it's far better than whatever you were just watching. This is going to be Jen and Cody trying the luge. Now, some things I feel like, should be left to professionals. Did they do it anyway? Yeah, they did. Did they survive? Well, you'll have to watch and see. Plus, we're going to talk to Murphy Crampton, who's blowing up his yard for Christmas. Not an explosion, just a lot of blow up, festive Santas and a whole bunch of stuff. You'll get to see those on the show as well today. I don't know about you, but you got a favorite decoration for Christmas? What do you like decorating your yard with?
Oh, the typical Christmas light kind of wreath kind of situation is usually what I like to go with, Mr. Fanshaw. All right, folks, that's all we have for this evening. Thanks for joining us as always. Your last look tonight is the Hudson's Bay Wetlands. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.